So, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. We're grateful to Common Capital and we're grateful to Center for Women in Enterprise for hosting our workshop today and finding calm in the holiday chaos. And so I wanted to let Dee, who it sounds like people know you already, but just to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. My name is Dee Dice, and I'm a small business consultant. I work with several different organizations, but mostly I have had my own business for years and years, and I have had several different types of businesses, everything from a Christmas tree shop to a garden center to a wholesale produce business. And currently, I'm actually starting a new business, which is an adventure travel business. So I understand in a very intimate way a lot of what goes on when you own a small business. So, and I'm delighted to work with Kasey because she has a big background also.
Thanks, Dee. And so Dee and I together, we have founded the Mindshift Business Accelerator, which is an 8-week business accelerator that grows your business from the inside out. So it is a holistic approach to business development. So it not only focuses on what you need to do and the activities you need to do and what's going on outside, but it also focuses on you as the human being and sort of what happens for all of us and our sort of natural responses to uncertainty, taking big risks, what happens when we are faced with fear. And so really the uniqueness of the Mindshift Business Accelerator is that it takes you into account because we believe that you matter as well as your business as well. So, and I am a certified coach with the International Coaching Founder Federation. I've been coaching it's been about 9 to 10 years. And I also own another small business. I own a whole animal butcher shop with my husband. It's called Corsello Butcheria here in East Hampton, Massachusetts. We source all of our meat from local farms, and it is an Italian-style butcher shop that came from our experience of living in Italy and shopping and finding our butcher and really being very passionate about kind of the slow food, local food movement. So, and sort of just, Dee and I together have a lot of experience in different industries, different sectors. And yet we're humans. We're also mothers. And so, there's a lot of things that we've supported each other on. And so we wanted to really offer skills or tools that might be unique for business owners. So we are so happy you're here. And there are so many places that you can be, and you chose to be here. So we want to honor and celebrate you for investing your time to just show up, to take an intentional pause, and then, kind of find some calm, clarity, and we hope joy. Mm-hmm. So welcome, and thank you for being here. Our agenda today. So, Dee, do you want to go through this?
Yeah, sure. So we're going to set an intention for today's session as well as for the holiday time. Talk about the challenges of the season, look at our response to chaos, practices that support us on all different levels. We're going to talk about different tools, knowing that, every situation might demand a different tool or a different type of tool. And we're going to do some journal reflection and ideally a breakout room. So it's going to be a little bit interactive, which will be fun.
Thank you. So right now, we want to give you an opportunity just to write a little bit about what your intention is, right? So what is your intention for being here today?
Yeah, we want you to get some value out of your time that you're spending with us.
Yeah, what do you hope to get out of this workshop? And really to take it a one step further, what do you hope to really get out of the holiday season, or sort of how do you want to be as you move through this time? So
Mm-hmm.
the December 31st or even beyond that, right? It goes a little bit extension through January. It's like how what do you want to celebrate about yourself as you move through this season, the end of the year as well, right? It's the end of the year.
Do people want to put that in the chat?
Yeah, that's a great idea. So once you
Yeah,
have your intention, go ahead and put that in the chat.
I'm going to put my intention here.
What is your intention, Dee?
My intention is for people to take one thing away from this workshop that is a practical tool that will help them kind of inside and outside in the holiday. Something they can grab onto in times of chaos.
And what's your intention for the season?
For the season, joy.
Joy.
Joy and not overwhelm. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm gonna jump on your joy as well because I'm that's my intention. Joy and presence. That's for me.
Yep. There you
In
go.
fact, I think we can go around the room and see what everyone's intention is. Emil, what's your intention?
Okay, so I'm always a person of love peace and kind of relaxing and with 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 whatever is going on, just be away from what gives me a negative energy and always look to the positive piece of what's going on because we live in this world of whatever we are working, but we still hear the news here and here. So I would like to stay positive always and be hopeful. Always there's a new year. We hope everything will be nice. Related to work, I always like to learn more skills. I always like to those skills can help me to help my client, my our client or borrowers, and yep, help them to whatever is available. Like this webinar, I think this would be nice. I will get something out of this so I can deliver it back to my client, my friends. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. And what a great reminder to stay hopeful and positive
Mhm.
and optimistic. I mean, I think that's important as a business owner as well. And also in what's going on in the world. Um, would anyone else like to share from the group?
Sure, I'm happy to. Um, I had put this in the chat, but I'm looking forward to gaining some more skills about it. This is just such a hectic time of year, and for most of us owning businesses, it just kicks it up a notch. So it's even busier. And so I'd love some skills that would be helpful for that. Emil, I really appreciate your idea about hope. It's a good reminder because it's a very, to me, it's an incredibly tough world right now. And I think that for lots of us, there's kind of this dark pall over everything because the world feels especially crazy and destructive right now. And I would just like to be more present. For the
Mm.
last 25 years, I founded and then ran a nonprofit, and we were getting food to older adults. And during the holiday season, it was especially busy. We were delivering 1,200 meals and gift bags all over the county. So this is the first year I'm not doing that. So I'm trying to enjoy the white lights and the feeling of the season and just I would love it if this season would feel a little slower.
Mm.
What kind of business do you have, Megan?
It's sweet basil cards. So I make greeting cards and
Oh,
calendars, mini garlands, all kinds of paper
Mm.
arts. And I've been doing that for about 45 years, but I need to kick it up
uh-huh.
um, to make an income again
Yeah.
Amazing.
without the nonprofit. Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that, Megan.
sure. Thank you. This is great.
Michelle or Janelle?
Yeah, I can
Sure.
share. Can you
Oh,
hear me?
Yep,
yes.
we
Yeah,
can.
And
I'm
Janelle,
having a
you're up
little
after Michelle.
I'm having a little trouble navigating this on my phone. I'm sorry. Um, so I'm in a kind of a different place that I'm sort of slowly working towards some version of retirement. And I've had some really big changes in my life. My mother passed away in October, and I
Mm.
had been really consumed for the last 3 years with running back and forth to Connecticut to take care of her. And I also have an adult special needs child who lives with me. Um, and so I guess my intention is I want to be able to think clearly about how I want my life to move forward and change, how
Mm.
I how I can manage my business to my practice. I don't really want to close it down, but I don't really want to work this hard. We're trying to figure out, navigating all of my mother's affairs. So I just want to be able to sort of move forward thoughtfully without getting it, overstressed and overthinking and panicking. And um, yeah, that's kind of it. The holiday season doesn't affect us that much being Jewish, but it still does affect us in some ways.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Thank you for sharing that, Michelle, and my condolences for your mother.
thank you. Thank you.
Janelle?
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So, I would like out of this workshop today is just to find some time to relax and take a breath because I'm always on the go. I'm always to and fro and traveling and here, there, everywhere. And sometimes I just want to take a break and just go, oh, and kick my feet up and just take some time to just be in my own thoughts instead of being everywhere. And then also, just to be safe out on the roads. This is not my favorite time to drive.
Mhm.
Although I love to drive, but this isn't my favorite time because it gets dark early and then everyone is either driving too slow or too fast, and then we have the ice and the snow, and it's not my favorite time. So I just really want to learn some tools to be calm in every environment by myself,
Mhm.
behind the wheel. And that is what I want to get out of this workshop today.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very important, right? And we can use this in any moment, right? Behind the wheel or in transition, what's next.
Mhm.
Um, just important. I think I want to acknowledge everyone, what you said and your intentions, and I really resonate with each one of them. I'm sure we all sort of find some connection to what everyone has said, even though we have different lives. I definitely can connect with what you all said,
For sure.
and thank you for that. All right. Dee, would you like to
Sure,
talk about
sure.
what we're up to?
So, of course, why this workshop? Because somehow on the holidays, there's a lot more going on. If you're in retail, of course, it's a very big season for you. And just FYI, I had a retail business for a while that was closed in the fall, but I also had a Christmas business. So I sold trees, wreaths, roping. I made my own ornaments. I was telling Kasey the other day that every evening I would come home, turn on a movie, and I'd make, 50 ornaments, or I'd make these these shell lights that I'd gather the shells from the beach and I'd make them into a string of lights. And so really every moment was taken. And then we're all experiencing different things like family, extra family. And so we've got business pressures, we've got family pressures of, especially if you have kids, expectations about gifts and meals and all sorts of things that we don't usually have, and we don't usually have all at once. So, and there's also a lot going on, like overscheduling and overperforming. I mean, our kids are in a play, or we're a part of a community that does the hot chocolate run in town, and so there's all sorts of different events that we not only want to go to, but we want our family to go to. We want to represent our business at different events. So that's a high possibility, the desire to do it all, of course. So hopefully we can talk about, our intention, grounding, simplifying, and we can have some tools that can help you out.
Excuse me, Dee, I just wanted to say also, it can be an additional financial pressure this time of year too.
Thank you so much for that. Absolutely.
Whether it's, we're taking extra food to somebody, or we're trying to make donations to our favorite organizations and getting gifts and maybe travel. There's a cost to all that. So.
Wow, absolutely, Megan.
Or if we just had to put money into getting our cars fixed.
Yeah, right.
Right. And I think I want to add too, for our butcher business, it's a really big season for us in terms of like ordering and holiday ordering, and people are getting together more often, and I mean people order a lot of meat during that time, and I know for my husband, he always is, he just wants to make sure that everybody is happy and he doesn't make a mistake, because it's just an important part of any kind of celebration. Like food is an important part of a gathering, whatever that gathering may be. And so it adds that stress of, because it's not, we're doing more. And if we're a business, we also want to maybe make it into the black and out of the red.
Right. This is a chance where, many businesses, I forget what the percentage is, but sometimes it's like 30 or 40% of an annual business is done during the holidays. So, yeah, it's huge. But all that, right? So, part of the reason that some of the tools, some of the things that we're talking about is simplifying holiday traditions, for example. And I relate back to kids, because I remember when my kids were young, I wanted to do everything with them, for them. Oh, this is a thing we can do every year. Oh, we don't want to miss the Nutcracker. Oh, there's a singing thing. We've got to do that. It's every week. And it becomes too much, becomes an overload. So one of the first tools is really to simplify and, focus on what is most meaningful for you, your family, and your business. Do you have to, send a Christmas card, email, holiday card? I mean, is that something that you value, that your clients value? And if not, questioning why, what is it that is most meaningful?
And also, when I'm thinking about sort of, if we've been in business for a while and sort of understanding what sells, we also don't have to do everything that we've wanted to do that we didn't get to, right? So we're like, oh, I have all these business ideas or this idea for a product that I want to sell. We don't have to do that. if we haven't really taken the steps to sort of make that happen, right? Now is not the time to add an additional product line, perhaps.
Right. Yeah.
In December, right?
Yeah. One of the smartest things someone said to me after I had my first child was, can't you just repeat what you did last year in your business? And I thought, you know what? I can do that. And, that goes for on many different levels. Can you repeat your marketing content? I mean, no one's going to remember what last holiday season that you put out, right? So repeat it. Look and see which one was most effective and just do the exact same thing, right? It could open you up to the possibility of doing something different, but you'll have that already in place. And reusing any kind of system that you have that makes sense.
And content too, right? So if
Yeah.
you are on social media and you're posting things, it's okay to reuse it.
Right.
People don't remember.
And I mean, now is not necessarily the time to create a new system, but certainly having systems to anticipate. For example, I have an adventure travel business, so that means that I am now traveling quite a bit. So I have a packing system. I use the same suitcase. I have my same packing cubes. I have little containers that have my sleep stuff. I have little containers that have my medicine stuff. I have that all set. So I don't have to recreate the wheel every time I pack. And I'm sure there's things in your business that you keep recreating, whereas if you made a template, right? And it doesn't have to be all at once. I have this adventure travel business, and I have to send out a lot of different kind of official emails to people, and so have I created all those templates? No. Each time I'm trying to create one template so that it's easier, so I can just reuse that. Same Christmas decorations, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. And I think the importance of being selective and intentional, right? So it's like, I mean, there's a lot of noise out there too that's saying, oh, this is the best thing to do. This is the best thing to do. This is the best thing to do. And it's always like, what's the trend? What's the trend? What's the trend? And we can be selective and we can say, I don't have to follow the trends right now.
Right. Or, we've done this every year. This is our tradition. Every single year we do that. Well, guess what? You can change your tradition. I mean, maybe your business or your family has outgrown that tradition. Or maybe your staff or your family can take over parts of that tradition. We have a tradition every year of serving meals on wheels at the holidays, and I was away and did not sign us up to do that. And you know what? My daughter jumped in and said, "By the way, I signed us up for the meals."
Amazing.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
So letting go of some of those, looking at them, but letting go of some of those or delegating them. Hmm. And prioritizing relationships instead of volume. I'm an adoptive family, and in the adoption world, there's always one of the organizations that I belong to always sends out a newsletter and basically says, just cut with volume. You want to prioritize your relationships and have memories and meaning. And that means not going through a rote, like, okay, we make holiday cookies every year. Okay, everybody, come on, let's do that. No, deciding, hey, maybe this year we're going to make one type of cookie, and see what kind of reaction you get. So.
Yeah. And I think for me, Dee, because I have friends that do all the things, and they're not also
Right.
business owners,
Yeah,
right? And
that's
and
tough. That's tough.
and I have two teenagers, and you know, we opened our business. We're in our ninth. I think we're in our ninth year, and that's a lot of time of my kids. That's a lot of time of them being little, and we had to. A lot of things went. We just couldn't do because we were so. It was a new business, and we were just so like kind of focused on survival. And there are things that we just that get sacrificed, right? So the Christmas photo, I think we did one Christmas card one year,
Mhm.
and not doing the cookies. I don't think I've done cookies in a long time, but that if I have cookies, I'll eat them. So it's also like a good thing. Um, but my mom does cookies, and so we know that she's going to have cookies. And you know, my kids are both in sports, and it's the start of basketball season, and I'm also the like head like the head booster parent for basketball, and that's a lot of organizing. So again, it's sort of like understanding what our capacity is.
Mhm.
Also, and being intentional really helps, right? Because if you can be intentional and focused, you can say, okay, does this align with sort of what my intentions are? And if this doesn't align, then maybe this is something I say no to. So I can say yes to something that is important, yes to something that is meaningful or part of that aligns with my intention.
Mhm. So, thank you for that, Kasey. One thing I wanted to say that has shifted as my kids have gotten older is different tasks. Like one year, I basically said, we're not doing holiday cards. And my son was a little bit upset about that afterwards. He said, we didn't do a card this year. I said, I know. I couldn't do it. And he said, well, I'll do it. I can do it. And so that year we sent out a card like mid-January, and he did it. He went
Wow.
online, he got the picture from, we all
Mhm.
okayed it and everything. And so now that's kind of his thing that he does. It is so great. I
That's
like doing a
amazing.
holiday card, but you know what? I don't really want to do it. And so he does it, and he wants to do it. So, and extrapolating that into a business, I mean, are there things that other staff people like to do? And maybe I know some of you have staff, but it's always amazing to me when you find a staff person who does something that you had no idea. I had a staff person one day, I said, could you just make this sign real quick? I always made the signs at my store. Turns out she was an artist. She made the most incredible sign. And so I said, do you like doing that? She goes, oh, yeah, that's totally my passion. I'm like, incredible. I am letting go of this task forever, and she was happy. I was happy. And, it was all because I delegated and, saw and found out that, that was her happy place and her talent. So,
Megan, did you want to say something?
I did, thanks. Something that each of you were talking about. Kasey, I was thinking when you were talking that we also don't need to compare ourselves to other people. Um, and that's, the whole joke about Facebook is it makes everyone look so perfect, and you're
Yeah.
going like, why can't I keep up with this? So that
Yeah.
was one comment. And then um, years ago, I stopped doing holiday cards. And I do a few to some older adults that are alone, but in general, we do Valentine's instead.
Oh,
oh, no.
And
beautiful.
friends of mine have and family have picked up on that, and that's what they do too, because that's another thing that just weighs so heavily in the holiday season. It's like you just can't get to it. So let it go and do it some other time. You could do a spring one. It could be any time.
And I love getting those cards at different times of the year because I feel like, oh, good for them that they're not, bound by some tradition that makes their life stressful.
Well, and it's also like there's some meaning behind it versus just doing it for the sake of doing it. There's a difference there between how we do things, right? In the way that we show up.
Yeah.
So we're gonna this was us this week, right? I don't know. We got a lot of snow out here, which is beautiful. It's beautiful. So the idea of like what we can control, right? We cannot control the chaos outside of us. We can control how we respond. I love this.
Yeah. No.
So what I want to share is a tool that has really changed my life. And I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with this. This is a formula. And so it's E plus R equals O. So how many of you want to guess what O stands for?
Is it outcome?
Yep. Anyone want to guess what E stands for? Megan, do you know what it is?
I don't.
It's event.
Oh, event. Okay.
Event or experience, right? And then what do we think R is? Any guesses?
Is it reaction?
It's reaction or response, right? And so where do you think your sort of control or your power lies?
How we respond.
Right. And so think about the term responsibility, right? My ability to respond. So often, and this comes from, there's a modern version of this, but really this is kind of like comes from Stoicism, right? Or let me just gather my thoughts here.
Well, it's also a Buddhist.
It's Buddhist practice. There's a more modern version of Jack Canfield. And it's got deep roots, right? So it's really about, again, we can't change what happens outside of us, but we can impact what outcomes are based on how we respond in any situation. And so sometimes we're not even aware that we have the ability to respond, right? We're kind of just caught up in the chaos, right? Where we actually are the chaos. I have, like I said, I have 2 children. And, sometimes I feel like if there's a lot of commotion and yelling, and then I'm like, stop yelling. Like I'm yelling at them to stop yelling. It doesn't make them stop yelling. In fact, it sort of does the opposite. And I think of sort of this analogy of like a tether ball, right? So there's a tether ball and it's tethered to like, or anchored and tethered to this one pole. And either we're sort of the ball where we're all over the place, right? Or we're actually the anchor. And so the idea is that things are going to happen. Things are going to happen. Life, that's what life is, right? And we cannot control the things that happen outside of us. And with practices, and this is sort of, we're going to go into some mindfulness practices, we're going to do some journaling reflection with some tools in sort of how to better respond moment to moment to moment. How many of you know this quote? So between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to work on sort of building that space between, right? So that we can actually and the more we practice, we can do it in real time.
Mm.
And so we're going to utilize breathing, right? I'm going to do a little mindful practice here, and then we're going to do some reflection on it. You know, sometimes I am incredibly responsible. My ability to respond is like right on it. And then out of nowhere, and really it's not really out of nowhere, it's that there have been some warning signs, you know, these zones that I realized that I was sort of in a yellow zone, and then something has happened to where I'm activated into like the red zone and I'm reactive. And having a teenage daughter, it's happening so much. And I think what's happening as well is my reaction is of fear and a story, right? It's of a story that things are not going to be okay. And how many times having a business, right, do we experience the waxes and wanes and the ups and downs? And then our reaction to it is from fear. And if we are reacting and looking at it from that lens, we're not going to see the whole picture, right? We're not going to have that space to have the response in a way that is most effective. Is not like we're not going to respond in the way that we want, that aligns with the outcome that we want, right? So let's say the outcome that I want peace in my house, right? Well, if my reaction typically is not peaceful, I'm not going to get peace. And of course, I don't have control over my teenage daughter or or whatever her roller coaster is, or I don't have control if people don't come into our shop or we have the worst sales day ever. It's how we respond to those moments and how and moving forward, right? I think, you know, moving forward thoughtfully. This is what Michelle had said. Dee, you were going to jump in.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, in thinking about response, I think, you know, it's important to think about the micro level and the macro level. So the micro level is, you know, what can I do in this moment? Or, you know, I don't have control over how many people come in my store at the moment. So I can just look at that little piece. Or what can I do with my child like this in this moment? So there's a small looking at the micro, but then also looking at the macro. Am I going to laugh about this 5 years from now, 1 year from now? Like, is this really what I'm concerned about? Like, let's take the big picture. You know, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I have family, you know, so the space in between can take up, and you know, both of those are valuable. What can I do right now? And how am I going to view this, you know, in the future?
And it's so interesting, Dee, because this is actually, I think this is a real snowflake. And it's micro, right? Like tiny, 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 zoomed in, and look how much space is there.
Yeah, interesting.
Right? It's like, again, the ability to zoom out is also a practice, right? And like, so that's another, this is where this mindfulness, these mindful practices help, because when they are there, it allows you to sort of have perspective of where we're at, right? You're like, okay, is this going to matter?
Right. Is this going to matter? Good.
Is this going to matter? Right. And I think we get to use these practices like breathing to sort of get ourselves back to regulated space and a neutral space, because sometimes the activation is in a fight or flight. Right. And so we can utilize some tools to just say, okay, I'm going to take 10 deep breaths. And then I'm going to see what happens, like when I've created space from the thing to the response, right? There's the power in the pause.
So I'll tell you a funny story. Like sometimes when I had my retail store, I'd have a customer come in and they were angry about something. I had a woman come in and she had bought, 8 hanging baskets and they all died. Well, she put them in the sun and they were shade plants, but she didn't really know that. Anyway, whatever, right? She was not happy. And so I remember at that moment thinking, okay, what can I do so that the feeling she has will be a good feeling? And I worked with her for a little while. And then I had to take a pause. I said to her, excuse me, I, I've got to, do something for a minute. And I remember walking into my walk-in cooler. Okay, this is in the
Yes.
summer, and shutting the door to the cooler. I said to my staff, I'm going to be in here for a few minutes. Don't bug me. Right? Going
Yeah.
into the cooler and just taking some deep breaths and just
Yep.
getting away from the situation and
Yep.
thinking, what do I want from this? Like, do I really care if I give her 8 or 10 free hanging baskets? Yeah, that's a lot of money. But you know what? She made them and she made the mistake, and it's really no big deal. I want her to go away with a good feeling. And so I could process that when I wasn't like right in front of her. And then I came out of the cooler. I was nice and cooled off. And
Yeah.
then I went back. And then she said, well, no, I can't take all those. No, I'll pay for half. Anyway, then we had a whole discussion about that. But it was definitely, I had to remove myself to take a pause. And I have done that with my kids too.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm taking a pause. I'm going in my room. I got to think about, whatever. Um, so, and one of the best parenting advice someone had given me was don't make any decisions after 8 o'clock at night. Okay, because that's when I don't have energy or stamina. And it's when my kid has lots of energy and lots of stamina. And so, we have to know when and how we're making these decisions. It's okay to put them off for another day or so, usually. I mean, maybe not in some cases, but yeah.
And you're talking about, so you actually physically removed yourself from that space. You put
Oh,
yourself in a cold,
I
you had
did.
cold exposure.
That way no one could,
You breathed.
yeah,
You took some breaths, which helped you to
yeah,
reset your nervous system so that you
yeah,
could actually have perspective and say, all
yeah,
right, I'm going to make a choice that actually is aligned with my values
right.
of and my sort of mission and vision of what I want for people to coming into my store. I want them to walk away with a good feeling. So then you were able to kind of override the emotion of that
Right.
and choose
Yeah,
what was aligned with your vision and your
yeah.
values.
In a calm way.
Yes.
In a calm way. So.
This is a funny little cartoon. Under Pressure is a song by Queen.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. So what I'd like to do now is just really invite us into mindful moment. And so if you are able to just sort of set your papers aside and just sort of like invite us all to find our feet on the floor. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to guide us through this mindful practice. And I want to give you permission to sort of take care of yourself, whatever comes up. I'm going to invite us to close our eyes. And if you can't close your eyes or you don't want to close your eyes, that's fine as well. So we'll do this for just a few minutes. So inviting us all to, and if you want to take yourself off camera, you may do that as well. So just inviting us all to find our feet on the floor and just sense, bring your awareness and your attention to that contact between your feet and the floor beneath you. And just really notice the sensation of stability. So the contact between your feet being on stable ground, and just noticing that sensation. And sort of imagine you're in a snow globe. And so there's beautiful little scene here. There's beautiful buildings. It's the nighttime. There's the warmth of the lights on these buildings. And there's trees around. And the snow has settled. And so you're inside this snow globe. And so imagine yourself being one of the trees. And so someone comes along as one does and shakes the snow globe, right? And really shakes it up, and it stirs the things up, and it sends the snow flying. And yeah, notice what happens when you are the tree. Deeply rooted, anchored, and sort of allowing things to swirl around you, and yet you are very solid and sturdy. And so as you continue to breathe, right? Continue to find your feet. If any thoughts come, that's fine. You can let them come, and you can let them go. And just keep bringing your awareness to your feet as you slow your breathing down. Just notice what happens when you give yourself permission to pause. Really just letting everything be still, much like the snow globe. Letting it all settle. And just knowing that there's nothing to do in this moment. There's nowhere to be but here, now. I'm just sort of breathing into that permission. And whatever comes up for you, just let it be. No need to resist it. Also knowing that you are safe in this moment. And we're going to take 2 deep breaths in together, and we're going to hold it at the top, and then we'll exhale. So we're going to take a deep breath in, hold, and exhale. One more big breath in, inhale, hold, and release, exhale. And so as you are ready, you may gently open your eyes, and you can just sort of slowly orient yourself back into the room and join us. And if you have a notebook or paper or pen, pencil, we're going to do a couple prompts for journaling. So we're going to give you about 5 minutes to journal here. So what did you notice during the practice? What thoughts and or emotions surfaced about the holiday season, or in general, whatever surfaced for you? And then the last question is, where do you feel spaciousness? Resourced versus constriction, which would kind of be like reactive, right? And this could mean in your body, right? Where you feel spaciousness in your body. So for me, it's in my chest. I feel relaxed versus the constriction that I feel a tightness in my chest, or like my muscles feel really tight, almost like I'm bracing for some like a worst case scenario to come, right? So I feel tense in my body, or it could be it could be situational, right? I feel spacious and resourced when I am snuggling with my dogs. And then if they hear a noise and they bark, I feel constricted and reactive. So we'll give you a few more minutes to just to free write. We'll take about 30 more seconds to finish. All right. So I'm wondering, I don't know if we have breakout room capacity or capability. So I'm thinking there's just a few of us here, so it might be nice to share what came up for folks, if that's okay. Whoever would like to share, that would be great. Just sort of what your reflections were.
I'll go if nobody else wants to.
Thank you, Megan.
Yep. And I was thinking when you had the slide up with the snowflake, I was thinking that it was a great analogy because you can be the snowflake or you can be the storm, the whole snowstorm. And so it's also great to just say, okay, I'm just going to be one snowflake. I'm not going to be the chaotic, icy roads, snow squalls. You know, we had one below last night here, so it was really cold.
Yeah.
But so
Yeah.
anyhow, I was thinking that, but I think just I need to take more time, which this was all a good reminder of just being more centered during the day, just taking the moment to stop, which I think many of us just kind of roll through our day. We're juggling lots and lots of things. That was one thing. And then my thoughts about the holiday season is to really consciously slow everything down so that I'm enjoying it more and that it's not suddenly over. Um, and then it's my choice to be tense or relaxed, like someone's just showing up right now. Sorry, I'll be right back.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect.
That was great. Oh.
All right, Michelle or Janelle, we'd love to hear from you.
Sure. This really helped me out because I do need to take a break and just relax. And I was in, like, on a personal side, I was in the military and I ended up getting injured. So I still have like nerve issues. So when I get really intense and really stressed out, like my body shakes and it's like I can't control it. So to take a moment and to breathe in, hold it and breathe out, that calm me. And then I know when just holding in a lot of stress, your body's not at ease. So I try to always think in my mind, like, I don't want to get a disease. And especially during this time, everybody gets sick and, you know, there's just so much going on. So that really helped me to calm. And yeah, that I just enjoyed it. And I think there was one more question that I wanted to respond to.
I was thinking, Janelle, for you, you might schedule a 5-minute break at different times.
Yes.
Put it on the calendar or, however you schedule things.
Yes, sorry, y'all. But yes, I do need to schedule time to just relax because the only time that I stop and relax is in the nighttime, shower, then lay down for bed, and then all over again, wake up in the morning, do my morning routine, shower, leave out. So there's never a time to stop and pause in the middle of the day. And that's what I definitely need. So yeah, I thank you for that input, Dee.
Sure.
And Janelle, also, have you ever heard of box breathing?
No. How do you box breathe?
So you breathe in for a count of 4, you'll hold it for a count of 4, you exhale for a count of 4, and then you hold it for a count of 4. And you you do that you could do it for like 4 or 5 cycles. It doesn't take very long, right? I think sometimes we have sort of I'm not going to say myth. We think that it's going to be this, we have to take so much time to be able to like reset or pause. But the reality is what the pause is, you're just resetting your system, your nervous system, right? And I imagine from the military, there's a conditioning that you're on high alert.
Yes.
And our body our body will send a signal to our brain that we're on high alert. And so we get into the cycle, right? That it's just this hypervigilance and go, fight, like that fight or flight sympathetic nervous system response that we do need to sort of shift back. It's like almost like, okay, shift back into civilian mode, right? Where you're like, I can let go of the vigilance, but we don't do that in our minds. We must do it in our bodies, right? Because our body is the thing that actually will signal then the brain. And so breathing is a breathing exercise is helpful for that. Or there's another thing that you can do is like use your sensory system, right? So something I do is like I rub my fingers together. I also have rocks everywhere, or there's like stones or crystals, because I'm a tactile person.
Yeah.
So I like the sensation of that makes, and what it's just doing is it's pulling me into my body and making me present to now. So there's just little tricks, and they don't take long.
Perfect. I would use that. I know when I was younger, I used to suck my thumb and I used to
Me
rub on
too.
like a blanket.
A
Yeah.
blankie.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
satin thing.
yes.
My
So that's
parents
a good
threw
analogy.
my
Yeah.
parents threw mine away, which I think explains a
Oh.
lot for me in my life. But
Yeah. Oh. I still had mine until high school and then I got rid of it. But then my daughter has one, so she rubs on it. But I'm gonna do that. And she has some stones too, so I'm gonna practice that.
yes, and I bring stones with me to like basketball games because I want to stay calm, and
Right.
I end up dropping them everywhere. I'm like, a rock. Yeah, I mean, I don't. I just learn these skills to regulate myself because I can't, like, my system will overload and then I get burnt out and then I'm exhausted and really
Right.
can't function well.
Yes, yes. So thank you so much, Kasey, and also D too.
Yeah, thank you for
Appreciate it.
sharing.
No problem.
Thank you. Megan, did you want to share something before you got interrupted, or is there anything else left?
I think that was pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah. And the breathing thing was funny. I was just at a doctor's office and was getting stitches out for surgery, and it was really painful, way more painful than I was expecting. And the nurse said to me, do the breathing thing, and I had forgotten about it, and it was just perfect. The four in,
Yeah.
hold it for four and four out, and it really helped me because I was getting I was like, I'm seeing spots and I feel like I'm going to pass out, and just
Yeah.
that slowing down my breathing was tremendously helpful.
Yeah. And how often we don't realize, but we are holding our breath,
Right.
even if we're not getting stitches, right? Like that's a unique situation. But I know that I'll catch myself and I'll be like, I haven't really taken a breath because I'm just sort of holding everything.
Holding.
How about you, Michelle?
Yeah, I had sort of an interesting thing because I got I also like to do creative writing, and I got very caught up in what type of tree and what that meant. And it really felt kind of like, oh, I'm thinking about lifespan of trees, or what tree has leaves and what trees has branches, and am I a dead tree in winter and I need to be a tree where there's snow. And then I can't remember the name of the book, but there was a book where there was like the last huge elm tree or chestnut tree in some part of the Midwest that the blight had taken them on. And then if you ever read the overstory about how all the trees communicate. And so it really all went off in my head to this sort of metaphor. And then I said, okay, so you have to be an evergreen. So you're with other trees. And then all I could feel was like the weight of the snow, that it was going to break me with the weight. And so it was really a very interesting journey there, and thinking, oh, so my things I have to think about now are I'm looking at is mortality and isolation and community and connection. And I'm such a type A overachiever multitasker that it's very hard for me to and as Dee said, I know all this stuff, but you know it, but you don't do it. So just to sit down and breathe and be a tree was really helpful. And so I think just really consciously working with those are the things I'm facing. That has to do with retirement, with the loss of a parent, with the leaving of children or the staying of children. And we're doing a lot of things like that right now with special needs, estate planning, and so that was really interesting and restful. And then the space thing was a little interesting for me to do. I've done intermittent fasting for a whole lot of years, and it has been a really helpful tool for me, but it's something that I've stopped doing for other health reasons. But that I've been sort of trying to get back to, and I have been fasting today in the morning, and I just was able to notice how that felt like I had space in my body that felt really good. And I know that that space often helps me have more positive energy. And so, yeah, those were all helpful things. I also want to share one little thing I have, which is going back, which is, this is called the screaming goat. It is a little device that when I get overly stressed, you press it and it screams for you. So I've given one to my staff too. So when they're in the back and I hear the screaming happening, I know that they're a little stressed, or like with your thing, I might say, can I put you on hold for a minute?
Right.
So I highly recommend it because it makes you laugh.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, nice tool, Michelle.
Yeah.
That's a great tool. It brings in a little bit of humor. You know, you don't have to say, you don't have to raise your hand and say, I am stressed. You know, you can use that. Good,
Right.
really good.
Right.
Yeah, and I think I just want to also voice the challenge of being a veterinarian as well. It's I mean, you're not just dealing with your patients that are animals, but you're dealing with their people as well. And so, I mean, just to be able to hold that and the human experience or the emotions of, you know, I know when my animals have something going on. Luckily, my niece now works at an emergency vet, and I have my uncle is a vet. He's been a vet forever.
Oh, you're really lucky. Yeah.
But my niece is now the triage. But it's like you're dealing with people that are scared or emotional. So it's complex. Last week the last session we talked about VUCA, which is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So again, it's like we get onto autopilot, right? We get on autopilot, and then we have to say, wait a minute, my feet are here right now, just like a tree, right? Or sort of there is a natural rhythm to things, but if we don't sort of orient to what is right in front of us, we're either in the past, we're in the future, which those things don't exist, right? Because the past is the past, the future hasn't come yet, and our bodies kind of miss out on what's happening here. And the other thing you mentioned, Michelle, which is it's interoception, I think. Something happened with my Zoom. Anyway, it's called interoception, which is that it's inner awareness, right? And I think it's really incredible and beautiful to have the awareness of the space in your body, or the emptiness, and then sort of leaning into it or accepting it or appreciating it. But that's incredible, right? And that you have the tools. We just need to also schedule those things, because we are so, and you've had a lot going on. I mean, dealing with the trips to Connecticut and, you know, an ailing parent, and then, you know, the grieving process, and children, you know, child with special needs. Like there's an intensity to all of it. And if we don't just take a pause to orient back to ourselves, but orient to the moment, because our bodies and our brains can really work with us if we can remind them that we're not in danger, and we can become resourced, and then we can move through life. I'm not saying it's easy, but with an ease or a flow, when we can practice these things.
Yeah, I had to laugh a little when you were talking about you get worried people don't come into the shop, because I've been in practice over 40 years and in my own business for a large part of that, and supported my family and done fine. And it was really slow the other day, and I found myself in that same place of like, oh my God, there's no appointments. And I don't take new clients intentionally because I want to work less.
Right.
So I just laughed and thought, you can do it for 40 years and you have one slow day and you're still like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh my God. How amazing is that? Right? Right.
Yeah.
And also, Michelle, like that, but your intention is to slow down because you want to do less.
Right.
And so maybe there's a natural rhythm to, not to say that, but also to trust that you're going to be okay. But again, where we go, right? That we go to the things that are familiar and tried and true.
Right. If you're not overworking, you're not working.
Right, right. And Michelle, I was just going to say, I'm taking, I have slept badly my whole life, and it's actually, I would say, even worse now. And so I'm doing cognitive behavior therapy for insomnia, and she's been doing some really good guidance about it. And one of them is because I'm an overachiever for sure, and I'm always planning ahead. There's always an event or something, something's happening or whatever. It's just I run around like crazy all the time. And my homework assignment was to take 20 minutes to myself every day. And she said, you think you don't have time for it, but it makes you so much more productive and so much more centered to just do something for fun. Sit and have a cup of tea or read a book for 20 minutes during the day, which I would never do that. That's like you read a book at night before you go to bed. That's it. But it's like giving yourself permission for that. And she was also explaining how humans evolved, and I'm sure Kasey and Dee, you both know this, but that the fear or flight, freeze, fear or flight, we had a physical reaction to that afterwards. So if you were running away from a tiger, you were running or you were whatever. And she said, now we don't have that physical reaction to stress. So there's nothing that calms that fear, frozen flight that your body is creating. And we haven't evolved to, I'm just stressed because I'm sitting at a computer and can't catch up with all my emails.
Right.
And there's no what's the word, the release of that.
Yeah.
So the endorphins are constantly screaming around us, and there's no way for us to let that go in the same way that how humans evolved. And that the natural system that we have of sleeping, we wake up periodically during the night because back then you would wake up to make sure you were safe. Okay, I'm listening. There are no animals nearby. There are no other people around me. Now I can go back to sleep. So the natural sleep cycle, and again, that hasn't caught up with us either. So
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, like the sort of the cycle that happens, right? Like when we're in fight, that there's a cycle that happens with animals, right? So we can do that by like shaking, right? When you think about like shake it off, because animals do that, right? With it's sort of their response, and then they shake it or they transition back. So we can incorporate tools that can help that cycle out of it. And then also, again, it's the space between the two things. When we can get space between, let's say, the computer and be like, well, is this a real threat? Like, are all these emails a real threat to me? I mean, maybe they are. But if we can take a pause and sort of set ourselves to say, okay, when they say, go touch grass, go touch some grass. And then see. Go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, I was going to say two things. One thing about the sleep, Megan, which I really like to hear you say that, because I know in colonial times they called it first sleep and second sleep, and it was just considered completely normal. And so when all these people panic because they're awake at 3:00, I'm like, relax, go do Wordle. It's fine. Because I'm up at 3:00, but then I go back to sleep. One thing I found, which is hard about doing something for myself, I sort of have two speeds, which is workaholic and then shutting down in unhealthy ways to try to numb myself. So that's food, that's television, that's shutting down. And where doing things that might be nourishing feel like work sometimes. And I find that an interesting struggle. So I'm trying to find, so just like you said, read for 20 minutes, do a jigsaw puzzle for 20 minutes, find something that is not mind numbing in that way, but doesn't necessarily feel like an effort.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that it's really restorative and not like, oh, now would be a good time to learn how to do visible mending or learn how to cook a new African
All right.
dish. You know, it's like, no, that doesn't end up really helping me center.
And I think we have to have all different tools in our toolkit for different times. In the last session, I was talking about my trip to Nepal, which I just came back a couple of weeks from, and it was really stressful. And, 10 out of 16 people got sick. My co-leader got sick. And I was in a city that was polluted. And my usual go-to is to go outside, take a walk. My kids even say that to me. Hey, Mom, I think you should go take a walk. Like, got it. Okay, got it. Because that does that for me instantly. But there, I could not do that. And I also was in charge of all these people and I had a roommate. So I didn't have any private time either, which usually I would do like a meditation, or I just go in my room and shut my door. So I had to really figure out, get creative about other ways to, get space and time. And, with the woman who I roomed with, my co-leader for a while, she was very talkative and at times very critical of me. And so I didn't even really actually want to be in the same room with her. So, what I did after I took a very long shower was I'd say, you know what, I'm putting my earplugs in. I'm going to, and I'd show her my earplugs. I'm like, and she would talk to herself also. So that was basically my signal, like, okay, I'm tuning out now. So we all have to find ways to dig deep and know that our bodies will take the toll if we don't.
This is a good transition because there's a couple more journaling activities, or just a quick journaling on just bear with me though. Here we go. Just sort of like, how do we kind of take this experience and how do we want to apply it? So really just real quick, given the time that we have, what feels joyful, right? So thinking about what feels joyful. What do you want to simplify? And even if it's a micro level, right? Even if it's what I want to simplify this weekend, right? We don't have to get ahead of ourselves, but what do you want to simplify? What do you want to protect? And it sounds like there's a theme around being able to take a pause, meaning like in this question is like, what do you want to protect? It's like, what are non-negotiables, like ways and boundaries that you can sort of set up that that you're going to do this thing. And if it's protect, I want to protect people say, I want to protect my peace. And it's really more about what's a non-negotiable for you. One thing, because we're simplifying, remember, we don't need the list. I'm sure you're going to come up with some more. You can add it after we're done, but we're just in the interest and theme of simplification. We just want one thing. And that's the same thing with simplify. What do you want to simplify? Hey, maybe it's that, and I'm going to say something. I got a robot vacuum mop. And then 2 years ago, I thought it was broken. So my executive functioning stuff was like, it's broken and I'm not going to go through and try to figure out what was wrong with it or troubleshoot it. So I put it in a closet, and I put it in a closet for 2 years. And then a few weeks ago, I was like, I really like to have clean floors. I don't really like to, and I have 4 pets. So there's so much hair. So I'm like, I wonder if that thing is really broken. It wasn't broken. It just needed, I just needed to like change something. And I think I was like, it only is mopping. It's not vacuuming. I want it to not mop all the time. I just had to take out the mopping attachment and then it vacuumed. So I've been using it for the last couple of weeks and like, I feel so good. And I feel so good about myself because like my floor is clean. And then from that place, I'm like, I want to keep the things off the floor. So now I'm putting things away where normally everyone's shoes would be everywhere. But I'm like, I want it clear for my robot vacuum.
I love it.
So it's like it's kind of like a cascade
Yeah.
or like a domino effect just because I get to watch my little robot vacuum go back and forth. But
Joyful and simplify.
and
That's great.
simplify, right?
Nice.
And then the idea around where do you want more intention and presence? And I think you can also write these down. And if you want to sort of in your time reflect even more and give yourself maybe like 15, 20 minutes to just really like free write, please have these prompts and, you know, see what comes up for you. You know, it sounds like there was a theme in really about sort of the intention around slowing down, right? Slowing down, sort of, because when we have a slowing down, then we can sort of orient ourselves or put ourselves in a direction of what's the next right thing, right? We don't have to have it all figured out. And that's really hard. That's like our systems don't like that.
Do we have time for a little bit of sharing?
Yeah, we have a couple minutes. So we could take maybe one or two shares.
I think I'll go first.
Thanks, Janelle.
You're welcome. What feels joyful? Having peace. What do I want to simplify? My schedule.
Yeah.
What do I want to protect? My energy.
Yes.
Where do I want more intention and presence? And I'm going to say in prayer. And one word to remain calm this holiday season, I'm going to say stillness.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to share?
I can go quickly. Joyfulness is about peace also and positive times with my children. I want to simplify my living space. I am cluttered to death. I want to protect my children and my health. And I want more intention and presence just in my daily, day-to-day, moment-to-moment life and in my marriage.
Beautiful. Thank you, Michelle.
It's funny, all of that. Michelle, I wish you lived next door to me. I feel exactly when the simplification, I was thinking my physical space because I'm a collector and I'm an artist and I have a studio full of so much stuff I can't work out there. So it's in the house. And so I was thinking, you know, hopefully finally having more time, but I need to create that. So it's saying no more to other things. And because I managed a nonprofit and was an event planner for many years, I'm always looking ahead as opposed to what's happening in this moment right now. Yeah. So, Michelle, maybe you and I should be accountability partners or something.
I'd be game. Check in.
For shoveling out our homes.
Yeah, and I think and remember, I don't know if this is helpful for anyone, but for me, so I have ADHD, and so my house is often very cluttered. If I can do one, it's like, what is it that I feel the energy to do, and what it's again, it's simplifying, right? So it may not be the entire thing, but it's enough to get me into an act, because usually once I'm in there, it's the hardest part is getting in. Because then I can do it, right? Like, but it's really about just really keeping and simplifying my focus, because that's, I mean, for me, that's the key. Otherwise I get really overwhelmed because there's so much to do always. So, and Marvina, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Hi.
Is there anything, would you like to share a reflection here? What feels joyful?
Just being alive.
Yeah.
Being alive.
Is there
Just
anything you want to?
waking up every morning. I'm 2 years into cancer. So just waking up every morning, being vertical, not someone looking down on me, So I appreciate all of you all. I've had a hectic morning. I've been listening, but I've not been on camera. But yeah. And Kasey, you're going to be okay, girlfriend. You're gonna be okay.
Yeah, thank you. Anything you want to simplify, Marvina?
Time management,
Yeah.
to declutter. I've been in a house 30 years and I have things in a basement the size of a small 2-bedroom apartment. Have not used those things, literally, some of them in 5 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but when I move, so my girlfriend said, so you're gonna move with the same stuff and still not use?
Yeah.
I was like, you do make sense, but you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. But
I have to say, when I moved, that really helped with the decluttering. That was such a great thing. Or pretending that I'm going to move.
Right.
There you go.
I like that. Yeah. So. Yeah.
And then how about, what do you want to protect, Marvina?
My mental health.
Yeah. Nice.
My space, my mental health, my space.
And where do you want more intention and presence?
Focusing on my business, because I have a event planning business. And this year I implemented a new division that I have not been able to work on because I can't find the right people. So I guess that would be it. Learning to maybe clone myself.
Yep.
The time management part.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for joining us, and thank you for your contribution to just the container and this co-creation that we just got to experience together. And
yeah, it's great to see everybody.
We want to wish you all a very safe and healthy and presence-filled holiday season, and all of the things that you are wanting in 2026 as well.
Right.
Same here. God bless everyone.
Thank you.
Happy holidays. Let's do this again next month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. This was perfect.